Hi, biology students. This is my home edition here of plant reproduction. There we go. All right, so your job was to start on section 14B and eventually get to 14.5. I wanted to just highlight a few things for you before you get to the end of this section. I attached this set of handouts for you, components of topsoil, which will relate to what you looked at before, water in the soil. But what I want to kind of look at today is reproduction of flowering plants. And usually when we talk about flowering plants, we're talking about flowers, fruits, and seeds, right? That's our typical way of regular sexual reproduction. But I just want to highlight a few that are pretty common that we know are asexual reproduction with plants. It's obviously less common as far as our study goes with classification, but we got a whole bunch of uh, different examples of that, and I brought some with me to show you. We have here on the screen our friend, the spider plant. So spider plants will shoot out these little things off the side, and hopefully yours will eventually too. And they will, at little nodes, they will make flowers that you can produce seeds. Flowers, fruits, and seeds are a normal way of doing things, and you can plant those. But they make these as well, little plantlets. These are little clones of the main plant, and you can snip them off and put them in water or put them in the ground and off you go. So we're pretty familiar with how that goes. You're supposed to send me a picture of your flower of your spider plant here so I can check on its progress. That's vegetative, asexual reproduction. Got a few other ones. I've got some, I guess this is like Bermuda grass or something, right? And it'll grow along the ground and then eventually find a place, a node, which will send down some roots into the ground and they'll shoot out another stolon and off it goes until you get this at the end. So when you go to pull it out, it's like pop, 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 pop. Each little place that it goes and sends down the roots, it might grow like a little baby plant like that one right there. You see that? Another grass that's going. So it's all connected, and it's sending down roots at different places along the way. It's really annoying stuff to get out of the ground. That's also another example of some vegetative asexual reproduction. What else we got? Well, stolons. Just mentioned that. And we got here a strawberry plant that Mrs. White gave to my daughter and planted some out in our garden as well. And they've already begun to shoot out stolons out sideways. It'll look like a normal leaf, but it'll be low to the ground. And then when it gets out there, you can actually cover the stem part of it with dirt, and it will send roots down from the bottom of the new leaf, and that will you can eventually snip that and replant that strawberry all by itself. So Kellen's is starting to form some new flowers. She's got it bottom rooted here, watering it from the bottom, and it'll eventually shoot out stolons, which you can use to spread strawberries. We've got, I don't know, 4 or 5 strawberry plants out in the garden, and they'll eventually do that. We can spread them out and make more. That is asexual reproduction. Another one's tuber. This one was up in the cupboard and it's starting to already go kind of funky here. You can see that it's got some growths out of the eyes here, and if you do like I did in our classroom and root it in water, you eventually get these things to push out new leaves. So a tuber is vegetative. You can slice it into pieces and then bury them separately. And if you happen to miss digging them up the right way, like this one, you can see that there's a tiny potato here that didn't quite get dug up, and one of the eyes started to grow and pushed out new leaves. So you could actually have more than one eye produce leaves and get a whole bunch of them eventually. That's also vegetative asexual reproduction. They also mention in their corms and bulbs, like um, like what? Like tulips. And garlic works this way. Planted some garlic that way, and it produces new little bulbs off of the side, and which you can split up and plant separately and get more vegetative production. So we got a list of things here. There's also, I want to show you a picture of some African violets. They're able to be vegetatively propagated. I think that picture there is pretty familiar, but what you may not know is that you can snip off part of it, put it in some dirt, and then eventually it'll grow back the extra parts. You got to do it pretty cleanly though, but it is commercially produced this way. We many years ago we had like a farm day thing out at Chico State, and in their greenhouse they had little petri dishes like we've played around with to grow stuff on. We would take a little clipping of an African violet, and we cleaned it really well so there wouldn't be any bacteria on it, and then put it on the agar, and it was supposed to feed that thing enough that it would form little plantlets around the edge of its leaf. Each little plantlet, once it got big enough, could be trimmed off, like these plantlets here, could be trimmed off and replanted. You could get 10 or 15 new plants off of one leaf. It's pretty impressive stuff. So if you want to go and do it commercially, that would probably be the way to go to get more bang for your buck. What else? Natural layering, artificially, you can layer by making mounds. As you can see here, this plant, stem cuttings or slips, which you can graft, and leaf cuttings, which you can graft or you can cause to bud. And then there's sexual reproduction, which again, I said is particularly what we'll focus on next: flowers, fruits, and seeds. So yeah, the next section we'll get into flowering parts, but I've already sent that to you. What else was I going to say about this? Oh yeah, I got a picture here for you. Hang on, let me switch out the camera and stuff. So I got one more picture here for you, and this is out of coloring book from my botany class in college. It's got the stages in cleft grafting. You got a little bit of thing about grafting in your book. There's also some stuff about grafting in the Bible. Check out the Book of Romans. So I know some of you know more of this than others. Ask Dutch about grafting and their almond trees. There they go. They have to put the slips in the right place. The scions get stuck in there so that the vascular cambium lines up, because otherwise you're not going to get any nutrition up to the tips of the branches that you've made. So obviously we're familiar with that around here because of the walnut trees. They've got black walnut and have been grafted. The black walnut roots have been grafted with white or English walnut stems, and then they're more productive that way. Though there's a lot of work being done on that, and my neighbor Ken told me that a lot of the newer technology for some of the grafting came out of the former Soviet Union. So after things broke up there, then a lot of the things they've been working on without any exposure to the West came out and has been introduced in the West with things like grafting almonds onto plums and things like that. So they found that things are in the same family. They're pretty easy to incorporate, and the vascular cambium is similar. A lot of the other genetic structures are similar, and so they can be grafted pretty well. Right. So yeah, we'll be doing some more filling in the blank kind of stuff off of the scans that I'm going to send out to you. We'll wait for more on that tomorrow. But you got a couple of things you need to do for me. One, in the email, I asked you to complete the quiz that's there. You can do that in your notes or out of your book. And then you also need to send me a picture of your spider plant so we can see how it's doing. Okay. All right. I'm going to give Bethan an exception because hers is sitting right over there. But she can give me a picture if she wants to, because that's what you're supposed to do. Okay. Take care of that stuff. Do your notes out of that first section, pages 328 to 331. And then on Wednesday, we're going to do some stuff with flowers, fruits, and seeds. Next week, your job will be to complete the lab on fruits, flowers, and seeds. I'll have some of that stuff ready for you after I go and do a little bit of shopping. Okay, signing out.